It's just a strand, my crave.
What's up, everyone? How's it going? We're back. It's 9 o'clock on the 29th of July. That would be a Tuesday. Sorry guys, I was working late yesterday. Sometimes you've just got to get things done immediately, you know? We'll talk about a little bit more about that later. But for now, welcome to the show. I am Griff Johnson. This is Scuffed Epoch, formerly 5 Below 5. That would be Sorcery of Something on X. So, welcome to the show. Hello, Furnicar, Battlecruiser Operational, liked and subscribed. Now, where will be? Apollonia, hello. Thank you for your contributions and help over the last couple of weeks, by the way. I do appreciate everybody that pitches in with various bits and pieces. It's very nice. Very, very nice. Hello, Full Dive Media. How am I doing? I am doing great, and I hope you're all doing awesome. And hello, everybody. Hello, Furnicar. It was indeed coffee time. It's still hot. You know what they say. Strike while the coffee is hot. You should go to the temple at least once a week. And by that, I do not involve religion. So how are you doing, everybody? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in chat. I'm keeping an eye on it, as always. So, title of the show tonight, Romeo and Juliet. Also, I'm going to do my new context distributor, which is pretty cool. We're going to build it in the open source, not the API, so it's a different version. And we're going to build it from scratch, so I can show you exactly how we put that together. Don't worry about what's going on the screen right now. It's not important. Or is it? Don't even worry about that. I'll turn that down a bit. So yeah, I hope you're all doing great. We're going to be checking out some workflows. Obviously, we're doing AI mastering of music. That's going to be an album that will be out next week. I'm just doing the mastering right now. Tracks are done, you know. This is the Slow Pop album. The album that came out the other day was a completely different album, which I produced after that, but felt I may as well release it first. So this is actually another album that I made from one of my tracks. So as you know, I've got hundreds and hundreds of songs. Turns out I can create entire back album. I can create twin albums from just one song. And I'm quite happy with how it came out. So obviously it's getting put up on there with the rest of them. But don't worry about that. That's just background stuff. What I want to talk about tonight is going to be writer's stuff, mostly. But there is going to be a bit of comfy first, as is tradition. I'm going to be talking about my Romeo and Juliet project, and we're sort of blending things a little bit, I think you can notice. But essentially, as I discussed yesterday, we have been doing a Romeo and Juliet project, which is finished, by the way. So I'm going to take a quick look at how I would do that final part, the human in loop stage, which I've never shown, because I like to show what the tools do. It's not really about me. Do you know what I mean? And so I tried to sort of separate what I do from what the AI is doing. And so everything that you see that I put out, by and large, didn't have me doing much. Yeah, it's my idea, and I told it what to do. And maybe I bug fixed it if it's code. But, you know, I haven't done, like, final editing, right? We've done everything with new tools. The latest, if you just want to like get the info, yeah, quick and dirty in the first 5 minutes, the latest leap is having a report from Semantic Echo and feeding that into a narrative in-painting agent, which already knows your story and all of the beats and all of the characters and the world and the lore. So that's the latest sort of advancement, is feeding not the report from the tutor, even though that does work. We're not really, you know, when we get to the polished stage of narrative, we're not really looking for that. Hang on, I just need to shut this off. It's like two things playing at once. It's like, I've tried to turn down, in fact, you know what? That's better. Now I've just got one faint music playing in the background. Anyway, let me just name this track real quick, guys. 05 Skull, no, Acid Slide. Yeah, Acid Slide. Hell yeah. I'll just load up the next one. Oh, I got to save it first. I haven't saved it yet. There we go. Calm down. All right. So yeah, like I say, narrative in version 3 is coming out soon. It's not really different, so it's going to use the same repo. There'll just be a folder in there which is like a README explaining the latest workflow, because it's essentially like the order of things. But we still create our narrative bucket in the same way. We still create our story in the same way with the inversion. So we write the last page or generate the last page. We write our bucket or we generate our bucket. Did my screen just black out? It did. Weird. Anyway, it's distracting me from the calls. So write the last page with the bucket. We know what the bucket is: world, characters, ghostwriter style, your story structure, any ideas that you have, notes, right? We cook that into a final page, or write the last page. You can do that too. And then either using a custom structure or a known one like the hero's journey, we write the whole thing in reverse. So it reads the last page of your story, and then using your simulated universe uses because but therefore in reverse with a bunch of other rules to invert. Anyway, you go back to zero, page 0, your book's written, done. But then you need to do some more work to it, don't you? So then I brought in my unified narrative operator, which you can customize with all of your narrative documents again. So that's going to be a theme. Whenever I say put the narrative bucket in the agent, that's what I mean. So you take your project files and you put them into every agent along the way. So you actually customize the agent with a little bit of RAG. But like I said, what's going to happen is you're going to use the Uno to first enhance and expand. And it's going to do all of its basic functions. And then at the end, you can have it write a review, okay? And then you can take the result of that review and use the narrative in painting. That's like one of the stages. But once you've finished and you're like happy with the length, you're happy everything's been covered, now we want to do like prose and mistake and repetition and stuff. There is some of that built into Uno, so it's not going to like make it worse, but it will improve it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to feed it in. Acid slide's done. Let's just get rid of this. Acid slide. Echo tomb is next. Why can I still hear music in my headphones? Take them off. It's because the radio's still playing. Anyway. Get on with it. So yeah, like I said, Romeo and Juliet, what we've done is we haven't changed the dialogue. It's only the plot, right? And I've put it all in GitHub. We're going to take a look at it in a bit. So but yeah, I'll carry on doing this after the stream. I've only got halfway through it. I've done 6 tracks in half an hour. Crazy. Okay. 06 Echo Team. Okay, off you go. 10 minutes of that. And we can jump into Comfy. But while it's doing this, let me show you a little bit of a little peek, hopefully. See where we are. What is that? Don't worry about that. So, repos. What do we got? Romeo and Juliet. So everything, the whole project is here. So in there we have the project bucket, which has things like the lore of the universe. So there's that's where it starts. It starts with the lore document. And then from the lore document, we extrapolate a world. And I did most of this with 20 questions interview style, which is a very good way of getting your ideas into a clean framework like this. Okay. And then, so we had law, we had structure, and then we do world, I believe. Did I look at law first? Yeah, I did look at law first. Then we do world. Okay. So we can extrapolate with our decisions and our everything else, everything we've come up with so far, we can do that. So that comes up with factions, it comes up with place names. And then we can do our characters. Now, in this, obviously, it's based on Romeo and Juliet, and the speech is not going to change, which represents a challenge, because how do we blend our new narrative with an existing script? Well, that's the whole point of a play. It's designed to be kind of allowed to do that. So it's part of the genius of Shakespeare, really. It can be applied into like different settings and time periods, but still presents a writing challenge nonetheless. So as long as we've given good, so here we are, Romeo Montesco, Giulietta Capuletto, House Montesco, Lord Montesco. So we've got all the characters here, all right? But it's like with the twist for the sci-fi. So once we've finished that, obviously we do our project instructions. I add in the holographic tutor V2, which does come with a lightweight semantic echo feature. And then the ghostwriter style, which for this one, I think I'm still using Thompson, Asimov, Ritchie. So Gonzo, Isaac Asimov, Guy Ritchie, yeah? But yeah, we've done an extract and blend for that one. Not from books, just from what the model knew, okay? So we don't put information in, like I did not give it a Shakespeare script. I am expecting him to know what that is. And he did a pretty good job, actually. I thought he did a pretty good job. But anyway, narrative spittoon has not changed. It's the same file since forever. And the only thing that was added after, which I should have added at the beginning, was Auden Rosa glossary. Because when I made it all, it's kind of all over the place. And what you have to do is you have to kind of set your terminology so that it sticks to the right words for things. Otherwise, it's going to be making up we'll either make it up or just use generic repetitive terms. So it's based on the idea, things have names and those names should be used, not some random stuff. Okay. So this is where you'd put in all of your warp drive, techno babble stuff. That's what this is about. So consistency in terminology by defining the nomenclature of the universe as a glossary. So it's pretty long, but it comes in really useful in the next step. So what the next step is to use the agent. So like I said to you, I'm going to show you this, but we'll do that in a bit. I do want to do a little bit of comfy first. Plenty of time for story writing after. So let's get rid of that, and throw Ghost Melt in there. I don't remember what that one sounds like. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But we've done enough of that. +1, dragons glossing over the glossary. Yes. So here we go. Where's McComfy? Hiding away, doing something top secret. No, it's not. It's just doing WAN 2.2. Let's just double check. Because we are not ready for WAN 2.2. We're not ready. Context canvas. No. Not allowed. Hold up, guys. I'm just... what's this? Oh, that's multi-talk that we never used. And that's not what it is. That would... No. Okay, we're good. We can start here. And I think we're good. All right, cool. So let me just see now. I wanted to show you an idea which I had, and then extend it over to... Yeah, so what we're going to need is we're going to need open context. Let me just move the mic a bit. There we go. make open context first. So I think I've got it in the workflows. Let's double check. Because I've been doing a lot of stuff with the laptop lately. So context API. No. Jujuf. It's probably better off downloading the one that I've got online. It's been a while since I've updated. So Flux context dev gigf. Yeah, God knows what that is. V3. Feels like something I downloaded. Context Canvas Pro. Context chain ups. I think this is API, isn't it? No, there it is. That's my workflow. That's what I'm looking for. It's got everything in there. All right, cool. So we take that, but then we also need to grab something from online. So if I just go ahead and grab, where is it? Repositories. Yeah, we can get some music back. I know it's only quiet, but we'll have it back. Right. Full Dive says, some people say, I don't know what that is, based on WAN X. I don't know what that is, Full Dive. I'm going to have to look that one up. Chuck a link in the Hugging Face on Discord if you can find anything to do with that. But yeah. So, let's see. I think what I did was I made a workflow example for what I'm trying to talk about here. I think I put it in the DJZ Node examples collection. And I think it was something to do with data marsh effect distributor. This is the one. So we'll download that and we'll drop that in because I think that's going to be important. Okay, here we go. So where is the guts? That's not the guts. Aha! Ha! Right. So what it does is it's sending a different image. No, it's a different batch of images. Okay, so it's going to do something different to the batch of images. So I'm not quite sure how I used this, but I used this. So I think I just grabbed that. I'm sure I used it for the prompts. Yes. We use it for string swapping. Alright. I know what I'm doing now. So, okay, so that would be the prompts. Yeah, so this. Positive pre-prompt. So let's turn the upscaling off and stuff. It's looking a bit misleading at the moment. Fast bypass. So let's just say no upscale. Put the text on. And leave it there. So we've just got this. We don't need that right now. Got to change the project name. Context Distributor. Quality. Alright. Need more coffee. Okay, so let's raise that up a bit. Put that there. Get a text box. And we're going to plug the text box in. Now we need to drive it. So let's see. Drive it with what was the name of the thing we had before? I forgot what it's called. It's funny. Inversed switch any. Inversed switch any. Quality. Right, so string. And then this will give me a string output. There we go. Okay. Now, why did I do that? Yeah? Why did I do that? What's the point of that, you might be thinking? Well, it's really nice, okay? You know how we make our gardens? We make like 9x9 cells and do it all like that, right? It's possible to just do the 9x9 with just the bit you want to change. So in this, it's going to be the prompt, right? So we're going to have multiple of these. Well, that's the plan anyway. Let's see if it works, because I don't want to explain too far. We'll do 4 for first. Oh! Why is there only one input? I hate it when this happens. You know when you do a demo? There's only one input. Have I got like a busted impact pack? This happened yesterday. Inverse, hang on. Inverse switch any, right? So the way it works is you put a string in. It's supposed to make another one. I think we've got an issue, boys. I'm going to try and update my impact pack because I think we've got something squirrely going on here. Update. God knows. Didn't this happen last time? I swear this happened yesterday. Or the day before. What are we doing, says Dragon? Setting up a distributor for context on the open source workflow. But we had an issue with the inverse switch not allowing you to add multiple inputs, which is a bit weird, but you know, we're trying to... Same thing that happened the other day, actually. So Dragon just asked what we're doing, that's what we're doing. Forget VO3. Oh yeah, I see it, nerd. Thank you. Yeah, there's going to be like a deluge of video models, guys. Just prepare yourselves. Yeah, it looks like I had to update something. I don't know. But let's get back to Romeo while we're waiting. So anyway, like I said, if we remember, we have our project instructions. We've written our book. Okay, so 001, story, here we go. Act 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's take a look at Act 1. As you can see, it's pretty dry. Oh wait, sorry. No, it's not. Wait a minute, is this really the first version? That can't be right. No, this has been Uno'd. It says right here. Give it a sec. Where's the original version? Let me see if I can get this first. There we go. Sorry, we need to start here. So this is the first version that we get. So after doing narrative inversion, we go backwards and write the... So it started at the final act and went back to Act 1. But obviously with a specific rule, do not change the speech. And, as an additional complication, I didn't give him a script. I told him to remember what Romeo and Juliet is. Yeah? Because, come on, like it's not been trained. It's probably like the most overtrained part of his memory, so Shakespeare. God knows how many times he would have had to see these patterns, you know? But anyway, it's quite dry, as I say. It has a little bit of narrative, and there's the theming and stuff. But yeah, it's Shakespeare's original text, scene descriptions adapted to Mars Mech Warfare, right? So there we go. As you can see, most of this right now is just script. It's changed, and it's themed. It's kind of thin and all over the place. Alright? So I hope you can see that it's pretty much just a script with some, like, sci-fi stage direction. Okay? Now, that's the first version that we write. With our story bucket and stuff. Now, when we come to do Uno, our unified narrative operator has been customized with the narrative bucket RAG information. So then what we do is we go again. We give him Act 1 and we tell him to use the Uno unified narrative operator with the rules. And then we get this, which is a little bit more. See, we've got more of our custom narrative introducing the script, and then in between it's breaking it up. It's all nice and themed. Yeah, with all the concepts that we've come up with. It's a little bit techno-babble wild, you know, like the terminology hasn't been unified, but that's my fault. I should have done that in the bucket stage. I did it later within painting, but it was more work doing it that way. What I should have done, and I've done this in the past as well, for some reason I forgot to do the nomenclature glossary. So in other words, techno-babble terms. So like, for example, if you're writing fantasy, maybe you use Thorm magic or rune magic, right? And then obviously you can define all of the terms that are related to that so that it's your branded theme for whatever universe you're writing for. Anyway, So you have like a technobabble handbook, and you include that with the RAG. So then he won't say quantum interface communication terminal. He'll say the Q comms. You know what I mean? So it's like in-universe terminology and slang. Cool. So this is what you get for doing that. And remember, we are preserving the original script. We're not making any pretend. I want to do this as like a technical challenge, okay? So we've built our narrative around the script, but now, of course, and now it's longer. It's much, much longer. There's much, much more here. This is just Act 1. You can see there's a lot of mech stuff, okay? They fight, etc., right? The whole parallel, by the way, is obviously there's the two houses, and there's a mech contract, and the sons of the houses are pilots. So it's basically Gundam meets Shakespeare. That's what it is. Some mech show, right? So the first in-paint we did was based on the review. So I had my holographic tutor write reviews for each act, ignoring the speech. So everything we do, we ignore the speech. So I'll just not say that again because it should be obvious. But yeah, so this would be the first in-paint output. So what's happened here is it's in-painted the act to improve the flow, but this time we did it with a holographic tutor review. So in the holographic tutor review, it would have identified weaknesses in the narrative, as in, you know, not the speech, but the descriptive narrative parts, okay? And it would create a plan for the in-paint agent to go ahead and rewrite those pieces. So obviously we've done that. We do that pass. But at the end of it, when I did review, I felt like there was too much. Here, let's see if we can find some. This is pretty neutral here at the moment, actually. So whenever it makes reference to technology, it's like all over the place. You know, it's like sometimes it's this, sometimes it's that, and it's because there was no unified glossary of terms, as I mentioned earlier. So anyway, we wrote that. I extracted all the glossary terms from each act. There were hundreds on each page. We then merged them into a unified list, and then I went through it manually and changed them myself to what I wanted them to be. And then after that, I did a semantic echo report. Okay. No, sorry. No, I didn't. I did a comparison between the current draft and the glossary, and then did narrative in-painting. So that would be the in-paint 3 glossary, right? So that's where we're at. So this one has been in-painted for technical jargon. So now it's going to actually like name technology from the universe rather than just saying communication system or everything was quantum, by the way. That was what annoyed me. Everything was quantum. I think there was like 45 instances of the word quantum in a single page, and I was like, and obviously a page is the entire act, so you know it wasn't really one page, but still it was too much. So after doing that pass, it reduces the use of generic technological terms by a lot, but they're still in there. See, now we have communication chamber. So it was a quantum communication chamber or a light speed communication chamber, and it would be a bit all over the place. So yeah, glossary of terms, big win. So yeah, that's something highly recommended. It's already in the notes. I just forgot to do it on this occasion. In any case, we're back on rails. Oh, also I made a mistake when I started doing the semantic echo work. I accidentally used Act 3 for Act 2, and I got all the way to the end, and then I was like, hang on a minute. I did a review with Gemini of the finished story, and I went, hang on a minute, Act 2, it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was like, oh crap. So then what I had to do was go back, and this is where I keep this whole chain so I can see exactly where I was and where something went wrong. So then I went all the way back to here, and then I did the same thing again, you know what I mean, going forwards with the echo again. So we do an echo, and then we do another one. So I actually do 2 passes with semantic echo. And the reason is because he can only do so much in one pass. There's a lot. I wonder, do I have... let me see if I can show you the reports, because that's actually something I did share. So in the LLM Writers Club, it'll probably get buried over time. There's a lot of excerpts and things which I've put up here. Ignore the Shotgun Knight. That's a completely different narrative. Okay, so the Knights of Mossberg. Right. So let's see. We got semantic echo reports. So feed reports into the narrative in painting. So I do semantic echo. I say examine using semantic echo. Examine my draft act, and then write a report for me. And I take that report and I give it straight to straight to the in painting. So here we go. Look, while working on Act 1, we can follow defined text generation rule set listed inside Orden Rosa project instructions, which defined all the artifact governing narrative generation. As we work through this list of improvement instructions, I've included the pasted text. So obviously I attached the report into narrative in painting, which is customized with the bucket, etc. I can show you all this stuff in a minute. We can use narrative in painting to improve the text as instructed, updating the act1.md artifact in place as you complete the alterations. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. It's quite a lot. That's quite dense. It's quite a lot packed in, but and I don't mean that unironically. There's a lot packed in there. But if I read it backwards, sometimes it makes a bit more sense. So I appreciate some of you might have just got that straight away, but just for the benefit of everyone, like how we put these together, these instructions. So if you work it backwards, it actually says we're going to be, as you complete the alterations, we're going to be updating act1.md artifact in place. Now that's something which he gaslights you about. He'll actually say, I can't do that, I can't do that, and suggest lots of different ways, and you say, yes you can, and he does it. But I'm not worried about that right now. It's just Claude being Claude. Am I showing off? Dragons just said yesterday was giant knobs and now we're packing. Are you showing off? We'll see. We'll see if I can follow it up with something else tomorrow. But we go backwards on this, right? It says we can use narrative in painting to improve the text. Okay, so all it's really saying so far is we're going to update Act 1, which is our draft. We're going to use narrative in painting. And then here, improvement instructions are included. So that's the report which came from this prompt. So we can write a report for Act 1 describing the plan for Act 1, which just includes a list featuring quoted text to be changed, because that's how the masking system works. And suggestion notes for replacement or synonym variation in it, because that's what it usually is. In addition, we can cross-reference for applicable technical terms from our glossary, which I also attached to this task. Yeah, so we put the glossary and we put the plan, so what gets made here, put it in there with this prompt. Boom, boom, boom. We get this, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. As you can see here, let's just take a look at some of the critical issues. So, quote, enhanced reflexes keep him alert while his tongue runs free with characteristic wit, but experienced observers note the edge beneath his. Replace enhanced reflexes with augmented reflexes, because Rosa enhancement and Perfectio enhancement, that's what it is. It's not enhanced, it's augmented. I know it's like a little change, but it's like this. There's going to be a lot of these sorts of changes. And that's why, again, you have to do 2 passes, because in the 1 pass, he's only picking up, like, there's not actually a lot here. There's way more. If you read the entire document, there are more general things towards the end. But as you can see, when there's 25 instances of this and 38 instances of that, you kind of have to expect to do multiple passes, because he's never going to get it all in one shot. Not right now, anyway. Not right now. Maybe in future, but at the moment, he can't do it in one shot. He'll say he's done it in one shot, and then you repeat and find out actually there's still some left. But the system that Fernicar made with the red lights, occasionally it'll give you like a traffic light overlay. This one doesn't have it. And you can see, like, it shows you like lights for the whole thing, and then it'll show you other light, and you can see, oh, they're all green now. There was like red, yellow, 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 red. Yeah. Oh, I appreciate an editor would be rolling his eyes, but this is the future, and it's kind of like you can either it's like adapt or die at this point. As much as I might frown upon this as a writer, I have to respect that this is the future, so how about we do the best job we can? You know what I mean? That's all I'm thinking. How can we use the tool with more precision? Because this is going to be what we're going to be working with. Like, if you get hired, they're going to expect you to know what these tools are. They're not going to expect you to take a year. They'll be wondering why it's not done. Because the fact is, it can be done very quickly. Let's just say very quickly. But anyway, it's not going to show me what I was trying to show you. But that's okay. So anyway, we do the first in paint, we do the second in paint. Alright, so if we take a look at that, it's now starting to look a little bit like this. Okay, so it's using the sword leg assembly, because the mechs are called swords. That's your parallel, you know. But this is actually really good. Like, this is above college level. I wouldn't quite say graduate, but it's definitely above college level. If you were to come in now as a human and just make a few little changes, I'll show you what I mean by that as well. Just a few little changes. Like here, no, right. At the end of when they're talking, so they're talking, Romeo and Benvolio are having a conversation about emotions. Emotion. And it says here, Romeo's melancholy stems from two interwoven sources that poison his thoughts like radiation from a cracked reactor core. Guess what? That's gone. What are you talking about? That's the AI trying to make text based on what it saw here and then trying to frame it in our sci-fi cheese. And so you'll see, but I'll tell you why I pointed this out. If I scroll down just a little bit more, we'll see another one that's almost identical. It'll be whenever someone's struck. Like, here we go. The invitation hangs in the air between them like a charged particle waiting to spark. There was no need to make a sci-fi reference there. It kills the pacing. Do you know what I mean? Because it's too thick. I would just delete that sentence entirely. Whenever I see them as a rule, I'd just be like, nope. Because it's too floaty. It's too flowery. It's irrelevant. He's just saying stuff. Look, there was an invitation. So he's going to be... And it's going to get worse as well. There's another section where it's like, Juliet was struck like a laser beam or something. I'm like, what? But the thing is, when you've got too much, it's easy to take away. Taking away is easy, yeah? So, as they say, perfection is achieved when there's nothing left to remove. Now, you might say, this is Shakespeare, remove all that AI stuff now. It was perfect before you messed with it. But the idea of reframing a stage play in a different time frame or genre isn't new or old. It's like been done forever. So I like to do this because it's a fun thing, you know, changing it from Renaissance Italy to Mars with mechs is almost like a backflip in my opinion in terms of what it can do, because it didn't touch the speech, but it's not perfect. It's really good. Look, here we go. Oh my god, that was bad. I'll read it out. Romeo's melancholy weighs heavier than Martian gravity. His strategic conditioning warring with emotional exhaustion that threatens to compromise his animate Rosa interface efficiency. If you can't read it all, do you know what I mean? Like, if you can't read it all in a breath, it might be too much. Yeah? So, like, it wouldn't even be so bad to say melancholy weighs heavier than Martian gravity. That's not so bad. But all of this stuff at the end is too much. It's just too much. Because the AI is trying to make floaty stuff that's twice as long. That was one of his conditions early on, right? So you can get rid of half of every, you know what I mean? There's room for culling. Because I call this wet. You might have heard me say dry. There's wet and dry, like audio, okay? Do you know what? Have I got FL Studio? Give me a second. Can I just... where's the Does the EQ literally have dry and wet on it? I bet it doesn't. Probably not really a good analogy. I'm gonna break the analogy if I'm not careful. So, what I'm trying to say, if I go to Audenrosa script, so the first stage of generation was what I call dry, because it's basically just people talking. Yeah, there's some stage direction here, but it's not thick. You see what I mean? It's just basically the script. I call that dry. And then when I say something's wet, I'm talking about when you've done so much AI with it. I mean, just look at the intro. Let's just see where the first line is, okay? Right. Ready? This is the start. First line is here. So this would have got a better score if the if it wasn't like this. But it's sort of like, how do I introduce a story in a different setting, you know, and not without changing the words? You kind of have to have a little bit of exposition, but there is too much and it is too long, right? But again, like I said, this is like twice as big as it needs to be, so you could cut this down. You could cut half off of every sentence and it will still actually make sense, because a lot of this stuff is kind of like just extra. I'll show you what I mean. The morning shift brings Samson and Gregory to their stations, junior technicians whose elegant Capuletto insignia, curved lines flowing like liquid mercury across their uniforms, reflects their house's current testing superiority. So, I mean, without going on, you probably don't need to say that part. Describing the insignia is fine, because that's a consistent feature from the plot. Their movements carry the confidence born of recent victories in the prototype trials. So that there says that they have the house current. It implied. See, this here is unnecessary because it's described in greater detail here. Right? And it links without, so you don't need that. It's redundant text. Samson tool, and you can choose which side you want. So maybe you want this bit, but you don't want this bit. So even though you could put it all out like that, it's kind of like you're saying everything. You might be saying things multiple times in different ways, because I like the wet type of prose to work with, because I generally just strike stuff out at this point, or occasionally maybe rewrite a little bit here and there. Well, that makes sense, just change a word here and there, but it's not much, right? Mostly it's just removing. So Samson's toolkit clinks softly against his belt as he walks, the sound mixing with the ambient hum of machinery and the distant thrum of cargo transports ascending the elevator. So, that's not bad actually, that's pretty good atmospheric stuff. You might want to shorten that by maybe removing, so it's not just, so it's, you know, you could say after walks, you could say mixing with one of the two things rather than both to cut it down. Do you know what I mean? Because it's all about pacing at this point. You don't want to be like, oh, I spent half an hour reading backstory and then they had a conversation, and you know what I mean? It's all about pacing. So like if there's like quick stuff going on, you can't be having loads of thick, it breaks it up. So it's a bit like music again. There has to be a rhythm to it. It's like poetry. It rhymes. I do not bite my thumb at you, sir, but I bite my thumb, sir. Love it. Classic. But yeah, like I said, this is actually done. This is done. So all I have to do really is just sit there and read it and strike out a bunch of stuff, and it's ready to go. But to be honest, because that's like a subjective choice, I'm going to keep this version. I'll keep the wet version, because anybody can strike out bits they don't like. Do you know what I mean? Obviously I will do that. I will do that and release a version, but it's sort of like I did this as an experiment to see, one, if it was able to retain the original speech, two, if I even needed to tell it what that speech was, and then three, judge it based on how well it blends. Okay? And like I said, I don't really have a... No, that's the wrong one. Hold up. Give me a sec. Here we go. clicked out the wrong one. Oh, message.txt, great. That's awesome. Yeah, we can't read that. Go, whoa, wait, Copilot in Notepad, get out of here. Yeah. Get out of here. Right, let's just, what the hell? Oh yeah, this just doesn't matter. Okay, here we go. I figured it out, guys. Right, there we go. So obviously the full play is far too long for Sonnet 4 to actually evaluate, so rather than wasting time by doing a review of every single page, I just threw it into Gemini, okay? So the way that works is you take my holographic shooter V2 and you throw it in Gemini and you say, prepare yourself to be the holographic shooter V2, and he goes, I'm ready, and then you give him what is basically the concatenated acts, so all of the markdown for all of this, right? And now I didn't get rid of all of the fluff either, right? So a lot of the time there'll be fluff between each act, like, oh, I have done this, I have done that. I'll show you an example of that quickly. So like if we're on Romeo and we go to, say, yeah, one of the last ones. So the last phase. If we go to Act 3, you can see here it's got a bunch of fluff to do with the process. So all dialogue preserved from Shakespeare's original text, narrative descriptions expanded and enriched using the Unified Narrative Operator Enhancement System, which is real, and we'll look at that in a minute. Released ages ago. But anyway, we'll go down to the bottom. And this is the bit which I've obviously clicked out now, but in the version that was reviewed, I left it in. So a lot of the time you have this at the end of the act. A big old review. It's kind of like, I don't know, serial box synopsis of some kind. And it's kind of inconsistent because in some of them, it'll actually do something else, which obviously affects the review. So it'll tell you, it'll quote all the people that were in it. That's the final page. The top, I don't see the stats. Some of them have stats. You know, like it says, oh, I changed this many words, I did this, I did that. I can't find it. Maybe I clicked it out already. The point is, I'm probably just looking in the wrong folder. But the point is, like I say, once you've done initial generation, upscaling, review result in Paint, glossary terms, unification, and then we have that draft there, the result of all of that, and then we start doing the semantic echo, and we will explain what that is as well tonight. We got time. And I do the semantic echo twice by taking the report, feeding it into in painting. So technically when we see echo, that's actually in Paint 3 and 4. But I did try using Gemini Canvas, which is a new feature they've got on Gemini Pro. Unfortunately, it killed the story. So if you take a look at this versus what it was looking like before, it's cut the narrative down to like 2 paragraphs, which is probably justified, to be fair. Like, there was a lot, but I feel like it simplified it beyond. It did too much. So I'll read it out. So Mars' rust-colored dawn breaks across Neo Verona's sprawling spaceport, casting long shadows through the maintenance-based transparent aluminium dome. In the thin atmosphere, the morning shift begins with the grinding symphony of industrial machinery. Hydraulic lifts hiss, raising sword components to working height, and the air thrums with the quantum resonance. I can't. He's already saying quantum in the first paragraph, guys. That's busted. So, I mean, anyway, I'm not. It's like you did all that work to get the glossary, and then it's like saying quantum stuff in the first paragraph. But yeah, like I say, should we see if there's quantum in the first paragraph of this now? It better bloody not be. Mars' rust-colored dawn breaks across Neo Verona's sprawling spaceport complex, casting long shadows through the maintenance bay's transparent aluminium dome. The ancient sun, smaller and more distant than Earth's golden orb, struggles to penetrate the perpetual dust suspended in the thin atmosphere. Massive mechanical platforms extend skyward like metallic trees toward the great tether that connects the surface to orbital facilities, a technological marvel that pierces the rust-coloured sky and disappears into the star-pricked darkness above. That's a cool opener, man. Way better than Quantum whatever. But the reason for that is because Gemini didn't have any programming, see? Sonnet's got access to all my custom RAG and Gemini doesn't. So it's like trying to write with no RAG. You know? Doesn't matter. Anyway. So, like I said, Control F, search for Quantum. Yes, good idea. No! There is a quantum tether there. Let's see, have we got any more? Quantum processors. So the first thing I do when I edit, they will be Q processors. And they won't be quantum tethers, because that doesn't make any sense. What's a quantum tether? Doesn't make any sense. Do we have a quantum? Oh, this was quantum resonance, though. That's actually a greater sin. Quantum resonance? Let's see how many quantums we've got in this one. 2. Quantum processors still exist. But hang on. This is actually quite good. So let me just copy that. And show you what I mean. If I go to like the original Uno output, at 1. That's what we've been looking at. 2 quantums. Quantum tether, quantum processors. Glossary in paint. It's still there. We know it's there because it's survived in the final draft. Yeah, still got it. There are worse sins than quantum though. Interface. So many interfaces. But yeah, like I say. Here we go. So this would be the final draft. Do we still have, yeah, we still have a quantum tether. It's alright. I'm allowed to make mistakes. And to be honest, I haven't actually edited it yet. This is the result of all of the agents. It's fine. It doesn't matter. If there's still one left, I don't mind. It's fine. To be honest, you saw the size of the glossary. It was more than just one word, so... Ooh. The other thing that it kept going on about was I said that the Montesco and the Capuleto factions have different design philosophy, and he keeps going on about it all the time. Look, so uniforms bear the harsh geometric lines defining the house's aggressive design philosophy, where Capuleto forms flow like water, and Montesco edges cut like blades. So, you know, their approach changes the temperature, huh? Not literally, but emotionally. So there's a lot of fluff in here, because he likes to go on about the difference between the aesthetics of the two houses, and it's kind of like you can establish that and then not go on about it all the time. Do you know what I mean? I think. So I'd probably just, like I said, calm it down a little bit, but there's a lot in here that I don't want to get rid of, so like I said, I'm quite happy with it. Let's see if we can get this to work again real quick. But yeah, we'll take a look at some of the actual Claude stuff in a minute. It's just there's so much of it, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to pull it all out. Oi, just click the button. Stop being clever. Click the button. My God. Comfy's been up for a while, but, you know. Any minute now, Comfy. Any minute now is fine. Oh, and we're in. Right, so inversed switch. surely when you attach something... Hang on. How can you switch if there's only... Do you know what I mean? How can you switch? How can you switch if there's only one input? There's something wrong here. Alright, I got an idea. Oh great, it's erased my all my other workflows. Classic. It's alright, we've got it right here. So bugger off and not stop us. So yeah, as you can see, what? Hang on. I didn't use that one. The inverse switch has multiple outputs. That's why it's inversed, everybody. In case you were wondering, I'm using the wrong switch. We'll just use any switch any. Could have sworn I tried this yesterday as well, though. Text switch, any index switch, any switch. Oh my god, there's so many switches now. Text index switch, index switch. I'm sure it's just any switch. Why are there 5 of them? See? It's a bit weird, isn't it? I still maintain that this is a bit weird, but whatever. It's not what I remembered it doing. But that's okay. I can still do what I want it to do. I could have sworn there was a version of the Switch where it would just add a new thing when you added it, you know what I mean? When you add a new thing to it, it just adds a new thing to it. How you say that? Okay. Oh. But then, okay, so this isn't the right one, because how do you trigger any switch? How does it choose which one it is? There's still something not quite right there. We're having fun with switches. No, it's not that one. I'm sure it's the Impact Pack version I want. Yeah, there we go. Right, okay. Oh, mate. So much fun. It's because there's like 20 different versions of the same thing. Like, which one? Look, stop it. We got it. Hey, there we go. Put that into the select. So whatever the number is that comes out of the sequential number generator, which will be between 1 or 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we get the string that goes into the prompt. And then in that way, when we have batch 5, it's going to do this prompt, this prompt, this prompt, this prompt, this prompt. And if we said 10, it'll do a second run. Okay? So then what it means is we don't need to make like 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't have to make grids of these things. You can just have a distributor which is changing the prompt or whatever it is that it needs to change. Anything that has a switch can use this method, right? Yeah, we already broke it earlier, Dragon, don't worry. We broke it and we fixed it, as is tradition. So there we go, we got our sequential number generator. So we have 5 prompts, and we have the sequential number generator, which is in DGZ nodes, set from 1 to 5. Increment seed. I don't even think it needs the seed, but I have the value coming out to show any, because I like to show what it's doing, like what it's on. Right? But essentially, like 1p, 2p, 3p, 4p, 5p. Alright, so that's how they're hooked up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's the long and short of it, guys, you know. But what are we going to use it for is the next question. And my idea for this one is going to be, so we got Frog Night loaded. We have Frog Night, okay? So how about we say place the frog night into an urban setting. And then I'll say into an landscape. An landscape. And then an beach. Now you only actually need 3 to train something, but you know, I mean, these aren't really very good for what it is. You know what I mean? But you might try, let me see, what else can we do? I'm not trying to actually change the guy, by the way. We're trying to just use him to replace, like, this could be a bulk action that you're doing to lots of photos, right? Let me just see, what else can we put? Oh yeah, change the scene to night. For night, everybody, for night. Dude, I think that someone's coming in and working late. I can smell like melting plastic. I might have to go and find out what that is. Oh. Whatever it is. Nasty. We'll change the scene tonight. Now, what else could we do? Should we try making him into a different pose, maybe? Dunno. What have we got for the settings? Just set the settings. It's just going to use this. Oh my god, that's huge. I'm going to crush that down a bit. Yeah, okay, we're crushing it down to SDXL with my resizer. That's alright. Fill crop. I mean, I know, we'll give him sunglasses. Place black sunglasses onto the frog knife. Alright. Okay. Alright, I think I'm happy with that. So yeah, I'll queue up 5, and I plugged it into the wrong thing. No. Fail. That one, please. Take that off. Yeah. Okay. Any more problems? I think that's the only problem we have. Any more? No. Alright. So yeah, like I said, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this isn't chaining. So before, we were taking the output of a context prompt and then taking the output and doing another context prompt and running it again. That doesn't work. Yeah. Because we haven't changed the input image. It's going to use the same input image. So what we're going to do is create 5 variations of this image. Yeah? Every 5 you batch. Because it's going to cycle through this 1 to 5. So for the first image in the batch, it'll run prompt 1. Second image, prompt 2. Third image, prompt... Well, sorry, not image. Generation in the batch queue. Right? So, you know, I could do 50, and it's going to give me 10 of each. Yeah? So it's just a way of doing... it's like a way of doing a prompt queue, I guess, but with like a subdivision, which is useful when you're doing prompt editing, because it means you can almost fully automate synthetic data sets. So when you have like a nice character that looks good, yeah, we were doing something similar with this with SD 3.5 the other day, so I can show you some the results. It was a diorama concept where we take photographs of the painted miniature, and then we use flux, context, and then we trained the LoRa and ran the LoRa. So these images aren't what I'm talking about. They're even better than that. But these didn't come out too bad. This is no LoRa versus LoRa. So we actually, it trains really well. So that's SD35 large. As you can see here, what we did was we used flux. So I took a photo of the model I painted, and then I got rid of the base, and then I changed the background. And then we did that like three, 4 times, and then trained a model. So now we end up with, this is actually the LoRa output. It looks pretty good. Like I said, I could show you a picture of the dude. I got him in my hand right now. It's got a lot of the accuracy right. You know, is it perfect? No. But it's bloody close. It's even got places like here. Look, I accidentally put some red paint. That's actually there on the real thing, guys. So it actually did a pretty good job. I was quite surprised. If you zoom in on it, you can see that it is just AI, right? It gives, you can see when you zoom in. But I think it's a pretty cool concept because it means you can do dioramas with painted minis, and it will kind of change it as, you know what I mean? It kind of, well, look, it did make that. That's not a photo. This is, you can tell it's generated. Look, what the hell? Something went wrong with the halo there. Got a bendy stick. But like I said, it was a pretty cool idea. So here we go. I said I painted it, used context, scene swap, 3 photos into new environments, captioned with ChatGPT, trained in SD35 as a challenge. Oh, Frog at the beach. See what I mean? It's changed it, but it has put Frog Night at the beach. So here is Frog Night that we generated in colors last summer. So that's an SDXL based fine tune, I think, if I remember right. Colors, and this is an upscale as well. So don't think about quality, think about detail and what's been covered and what hasn't been covered, yeah? Because this is a 2200 by 1232, and the images that we're producing are only 1392 by 752. Whoa, day for night footage, anybody? Or night for day? Yeah, there's your night for day with context. That's actually pretty good. It's included a lot of detail there I didn't expect to get kept. So that's going to have the same scene because obviously we just did a style change. So which prompt is it on? For night. Oh, so it's almost finished. We're going to get the sunglasses now. But the reason it's it can be quicker is it's not like reloading the whole thing every time. It's just another prompt. Obviously, if you're changing LoRa, things like that, it can get a little bit different. So say I wanted to do 5 prompts with one LoRa and then 5 prompts with another. I'd do this, change the LoRa, do it again. Ah, that's amazing. It really tried, didn't it, guys? It really tried. Oh, man, that's good. It actually looks great from here. It's almost like misinterpreted the frog as having a beak. Don't you reckon? Don't you reckon it's misinterpreted it as a bird's beak? Because that's obviously not what it looks like. Hang on. The shape of the frog isn't like a bird's beak. It's like flat and wide. But it's like, how the hell do I put sunglasses on that? They wouldn't even be lined up with the eyes. But hey, it did try. It's quite hard in a profile shot as well. Like that. Yeah, we'll do it again. Now it's all warm. It should be quick. So obviously if I had different poses of my Frog Knight, yeah? If I had rendered a bunch of different poses of this character, then, or had taken pictures of a person, whatever, I'd be able to just go click, 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 and it will just hit it with my preset. Now obviously the reason I've picked these things is because they're different, and because they're different, it will put more attention on the character. Yeah? And also, because there's like 5 different backgrounds, it won't obsess over the thing I'm training it on. It will... Oh no. I can't use that. Oh no. Oh. Yeah, it is more like a lizard. You're right, Fernie. I think he's interpreting him as a lizard. Did I not say Frog Knight? Frog Knight, Frog Knight, Frog Knight, Frog Knight. Change the scene tonight. Yeah, it's difficult because he doesn't really know what a Frog Knight is, does he? Poor guy. Place the anthropomorphic frog wearing knights wearing knight's full armor. It's probably too much now. He's probably going to get confused with all that. We'll find out. to the anthropomorphic frog night. Wearing frog armor. Because it might actually change it to what it thinks that means, which is not the same thing. I can't remember exactly how I described it when I made that character, and it was made with a different model as well. There's always going to be a difference. Ooh, that's rough. It's changed a lot when you zoom in on it. Ooh. But you can always upscale later. So we're on the beach already. How do we already get to the beach? I feel like I'm in Death Stranding. That's the point. I need to buy Death Stranding and disappear for a few months. No, I'm only joking, guys. That's why I don't play. You wouldn't see me. I have to wait. That's not bad. That's not bad. The 4-night thing is not bad, but then it is just turning down the you know what I mean? It's not. Relight it, but make it darker. Holy shit! Did I miss coffee time? No. Coffee time is late, but we're still doing it. Seriously, guys, this is the time normally on the hour when I go and get coffee, so I'm going to do that. Coffee. Did a better job with the sunglasses. I'll show you guys in a minute. I'm kind of surprised. It's like I said, this prompt image editing stuff is awesome. The only thing is, it's like, how do I put this? Escaping the full stack, guys. It's escaping the full stack. We used to have to keep like 6 different model stacks with 8 different control mats. Context is like everything in one, but it's not as good on quality. I wonder, we're going to have a look at this in a minute. I don't know, but I wonder if our old friend tiling might be able to help. So, let's check it out. Oh, bo. We're back. See? A little bit better, isn't it? Sunglasses. They actually align with the frog skull now. Pretty sweet. Now, just think about what you would have had to do to get that image not so long ago. We would have had to have done in painting in early models. There would have been control net involved in later models. So be able to do this in prompt is actually like crazy. And then the chain aspect, you know, the chain aspect is pretty smart because it's sort of like we can put complex workflows into a chain, and as long as we test our prompts and get them right, it's actually possible to make reproducible workflows you can just throw any image into and it'll just go through and do all that chain of effects. So it turns into something like, I don't want to say Photoshop because it's not, but you know, like here, let me take this, say save image. I've not tried this yet, so this will be a nice experimento. So let's put, oh, do you know what? That's an important image. I'll probably never find it again. Yeah, let's use the one with the sunglasses. And I'm going to say, add text. I've not tried this yet. I should have done this ages ago. Add text. Frog night. Right, and there's a reason why I've done the same one every time, okay? Because you don't have control of font style. So that's what this shows. Let's give it a blast. So we're going to add text, Cognite, every time, same time. See what it does. So that's why Photoshop still clinches it, because, well, it doesn't have to be Photoshop, guys. It can be any image editor. Alright, when I say Photoshop, I mean it like rollerblades or Hoover. I don't mean actual Photoshop. I just mean recognizable name of image editing thing, right? It could be any of the open source alternatives. But what I'm trying to say is they're so good at typography because they spent 30 years adding loads of refined typography tools, right? So Freugnite. That's not bad. Freug. Don't know. We'll get another one in a minute. But what I'll be showing is now, look, I could have said in the prompt. In fact, do you know what? We've got it set up here, haven't we? Let's move this. It's like I can keep everything on screen. Okay. What's it going to be? No text. We keep your money. Nice thing about having a local GPU. They don't keep your money when the gacha came up with nothing, you know? So how about we say black impact font? I just want to see black impact font. What about add text white impact font? I put it before it. That wouldn't really work. What else could we do? Comic Sans. Okay. What about this one? Helvetica. What else have we got? Add text. I'll say bold block text. Okay. So that should give us a nice spread for the next one. So it's still doing the same one twice. Because I never really did this, I'll be honest. They were like, it can do text now. And I was like, oh, cool. But I never really tried it. Now, I will be, well, let's just be real right now, because there is things that matter. I am using Context Dev Q8. So I can't exclude that the quantization breaks the text features, okay? Can't exclude that, don't know. I wouldn't like to say it's that, because I don't know either. I don't know either way, but people have said in the past things like quantization can affect things like the ability to spell, for example, which makes sense because, you know, if you're quantizing and it fine-tuned to get the ability, if it was a very delicate ability, you need the full weight. It makes sense, really, you know, like it's a crystalline network structure. So if you're going to clip the edges off, maybe that was the ability to spell. You've got to be careful. Yeah, look, it's not doing anything. Now you can say, "Oh, your prompt sucks." Maybe. I'm not gonna argue no, because these are smooth prompts anyway. Right. But I find that context actually responds to a smooth prompt better. Maybe add text is just the wrong verb, wrong verbiage. It's not doing any of them. Oh wait, no. Now we're actually starting the Freugnite Black Impact font. So let's see what it does. If there's no text, don't be surprised. I'm using GJuff. I don't want to blame it, but... Oh! Do you know what? Take it back, guys. Freugnite in black impact text. I didn't ask for the italics, but that's actually solid. It's actually solid. Should we do something for fun? I feel like doing something for fun. Get me, sir, fetch my memes. I need my pipe and slippers. all GIFs and videos. Oh, Frog King? Frog King? Frog King. I don't know, it's not what I asked for, but it gave me something. Did I say White Impact, then Comic Sans, then Helvetica? So I guess that's White Impact. Kind of gave it a cool styling. Oh, Comic Sans, everyone. Oh no. Oh no. Comic Sans was not a complete waste of time, but it seems like it's having a little bit fun trying to spell with the Comic Sans. Next up will be Helvetica. So next, we need something fun. Yes. Oi! We've got a tiny image. A tiny image. What? Why is it grayed out? It hit me with the accept cookies. Alright. That one's not bad. I think that one's Helvetica. Frog Knight. It's readable. It spells well. So just add text, quote text, font. So, but it's not really under control, is it? So what's that? Bold block text. It's, look, serviceable, but a little bit squirrely is what I'd call it, you know? Like it might listen to you, it might not. So just keep generating. So we'll save that, not there, because that would be a dumbass place to save it. I don't know why. We're going to get a new concept. So let's see if we can enhance it at the same time. So forget this, right? So enhance the image of the what the hell would you call it? A Knight Templar? The Templar Knight? I don't know. Templar Knight holding a pump action shotgun. Right, now this is going to be a tiny, tiny, tiny image. I'm just going to do the same thing for all of them guys. We don't want to get variations just yet. So we'll go from Frog Knight to Mean Knight. So, yep, we have the thing, we have the prompt. Okay, off you go. So just enhance and describe the thing. Now, just to point out, the size of this image is 291 by 250. Okay. It's small. We have then blown it up to SDXL size to go in, right? And it's very blurry. So good luck with this. I don't even think I can do it. But hey, anything's worth a spin. But yeah, like I said, the idea, the whole concept I'm trying to show you really is the sequential number generator. It just made it a bit bigger and less blurrier, maybe. Oh, it tried to draw the shotgun. That's funny. But look at the size. Enhance. What about, okay. If we say enhance and sharpen. Enhance and restore. Enhance and reduce blur. Do you even know what that reduce blur? It's such an abstract thing to say. We're going to reduce the blur. Like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Try it. I should try some broken words as well for fun. Enhance and slorp the image. Just for the record, slorp. Okay. picking a word that I know doesn't exist on purpose for that one. So it's just going to be doing the same thing for 2 more images, so we'll cancel those. Because I've deliberately given it like a super blurry tiny image for this one. I just want to see what can it do. Now we could do Seed VR as a pre-step. Oi! Goddamn rebellious machine! It's not doing it. It's for some reason doing updates because the shortcuts work when you're typing into the menus, but it's fine. Yeah, a lot of people say, are you a Blur or an Oasis fan? What are we looking at? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Some Frog Night action. So, first of all, and we'll go load image. We'll go for 2048, which is what I like to aim for when upscaling. I find any more than that, people don't normally notice anyway. So you can probably do a cheaper upscale to 4K, to be honest. I mean, most people don't have a 4K monitor anyway. I don't even know. If you really want to go up to 16K, I'm sure they'll make a TV that big one day. So, like for example, yeah, I have an 8K camera, but it's a 360 camera. So obviously it needs 8K because it's got like 360 degree vision. You know what I mean? So, but you, open this up. Shotgun man. We only need one. Let's get back to the other workflow and see how it's going. We got an output. Great. It's already done the first 2. This is an enhance and sharpen. Funny thing is, notice how it hasn't made the guns super detailed. So enhance and sharpen actually did something. I mean, look, a lot of the difference could be just down to the seed and not the prompt. So we're now doing enhance and reduce blur. It might do nothing, but I think it's worth a shot. I do actually feel like it's not as blurry as the original now, but it might just be that I've seen too many of these now. So, seems a little bit noisier rather than just blurred and blown out. You know, it's like it's made it dirty. You can definitely see a bit of noise in there. Didn't really do anything. I don't see any difference there at all. Reduce blur. It's about the same. As a matter of fact, if you look at it real close, you can even see like a quantization effect where it's just so blown out. It's almost like pixelated. Look. That's a fail, yeah. In fact, that one was Schlorp. So that's Schlorp mode, whatever that is. Nothing. Alright, we're back to upscaling. Yep, so we're going to try doing a seed upscale. Probably way too much, I probably should have just done 1024. Here we go, sequence of 1 frames. Yeah. Quantum tether. What do you mean? Quantum tethers. Now I did include some prompts, so some of the prompts which we've used have been included in here. and also the final reports. Sorry, not the reports. The in-paint instructions for the different acts. Okay, now you can see there's 2 for Act 2, and the reason for that is because I had to do it again from scratch. But just to show here, it's like we were talking about earlier, neural interface technology, right? Consciousness awareness. In fact, hang on a minute, neural interface technology. Hang on a minute, let me just go back to Act 1. So this is a bit different. Cranial jacks, Anima Rosa jacks, here we go. Neural interface terminology. Okay, so let's say neural. Search for that. Stop beeping at me. Oh, I can't do it there, can I? I've got to do it on GitHub. Act1.md, final. Yeah, alright. Let's see how bad it is, guys. Oh, wow. There's only 2? That's a win. Look at that. Act 1 fix. No. Get rid of this. Where was the thing? There were 23 instances of neural interface. What about consciousness? That was a tough one. Because it's like Pacific Rim, they plug into the mechs. Okay, translating human consciousness. Organic consciousness. Oh, no. Right. Mercutio's Queen Mab speech. Why are we talking about his speech? So Mercutio gives a speech about Queen Mab, which is the name of his mech in this show. Alright. Which is kind of weird, but it works. But he's doing the same thing again. Takes on layers of meaning in this technological age. His words painting pictures of dreams that blur the boundaries between organic consciousness and artificial enhancement. Perhaps he speaks... See, why are we talking... Look, why are we talking outside the story? Do you see what I mean? It looks to me like he's doing a commentary, kind of like what AI agents do when they've finished a job. Yeah? It doesn't... See what I mean? Why is he talking... Look at this. This whole section here is like... In fact, all of it. Why is he talking about it like fourth wall? Just like a fourth wall break or something? No, it's not even that. It's just literally talking about what he's writing. See? The speech becomes prophecy and warning combined. He's just spoiling the whole story. What are you talking about? He's just explaining the whole concept of the story for no reason. It's kind of funny. So you got to watch out for that. I'll probably just delete those sections because it's like unnecessary. I think what must have happened is a comment became part of the story, because he's told not to change anything. If I copy paste a page into the agent and I say do the thing, but there's like agent notes in that file at the bottom, he's gonna he's gonna turn that into the story, isn't he? Kind of a bit like a lump getting sanded down, or like a footprint in the road, They march towards the elevator structure with growing determination, Mars transforming them from recognizable house members into figures of mystery and possibility. The elevator's base looms ahead like a technological mountain, its surface crawling with maintenance systems that never rest, never doubt, never love or hate, only function with automatic perfection. See, I've run out of breath. Chop. That humanity can admire but never fully achieve. What are you talking about? You see what I mean? End the sentence, right? End the sentence. Now he's going on a bit. Look. It was okay And even this is a little bit too much, a little bit heavy, right? It's like, never rest, never doubt, never love or hate. Oh my god. The night air carries the scent of processed atmosphere and machine oil, the distinctive smell of a world shaped by human ambition and technological harmony. The night air carries the scent of processed atmosphere and machine oil. Above them, the elevator complex awaits, where masked figures will dance among weapons of war, where love will bloom in the shadow of inherited hatred. You see how I just skipped like chunks of it and it sounds better? The flow is nicer. So all it is really reading it back and going, ooh, that sounds a bit like when it should be like, why? I don't know how else to describe it, guys. It needs to flow. Yeah, show don't tell just gets ignored. I think the reason is because I'm using a blend of writers for my ghostwriting corrections. And so the Asimov in the Cognimus is like, I need to explain everything. Which is fine, because sometimes it's really useful, but sometimes it gets in the way. And so, like I say, by striking bits and pieces, this is how I'll finish it. But I will publish this as well, as like a log of what was done. So, orbital platform's banquet hall stretches beneath clear viewing ports that frame the cosmos in panoramic splendor. That's okay. Stars burn like scattered diamonds against velvet darkness, while Mars hangs below them like a jewel traced with the silver threads of terraforming networks. Too much. Too much. Too much. While Mars hangs below them. End sentence. Didn't need all that other bit. Because even this is a bit heavy. I might even cut some of this. See, I've given myself a cut budget of up to 50%, and I know it won't break the narrative, because a lot of this is reinforced descriptive information. So he says, the orbital platform's banquet hall, stretched beneath viewing ports, frame the cosmos. Cool. So we get the impression of a grand ballroom in space with big windows, right? Stars burn like scattered diamonds across the velvet darkness. It's just a poetic way of saying space is outside. And Mars hangs below them. Cool. This whole jewel trace silver threads thing is too much. The sight never fails to inspire awe. Humanity's achievement made manifest. Stop. Don't need the rest. We know space is empty, and we already established that there's, in fact we didn't, but crystal, we talked about crystal, but no. So again, it's not, you know what I mean? We don't really want to say, oh, it's made of metal and crystal. You don't need to describe what everything's made of every time, but this is the overly descriptive narrative operator doing his job, right? Because it's up to us what gets cut in the end. So it's supposed to be wet like this. It's dripping wet, basically. Elegant Capuletto technology demonstrations line the hall's perimeter like shrines to mechanical perfection. Three-dimensional projections display schematics of their latest sword innovations, each curve and joint highlighted in luminous detail. Cut. The flowing aesthetics gleam under artificial lighting mimics the Earth's sun. Cut. This is actually going to be a load of fun to edit, to be honest. It's going to be easy. It's going to be like paint by numbers, because you know when it's going too far, right? Interactive demonstration stations allow guests to experience limited Anima Rosa simulations. Taste the intoxicating fusion of human... Right. Cut. The technology responds to thought and emotion, translating human intention into mechanical action with an immediacy that borders on magic. If magic could be... Right. Cut. You see? It's just going a bit too far. If magic could be quantified, tested, and mass-produced for military contract. See, that could almost be a nice way of hinting at the military contracts, but... And we are in Act 1, so they may not have been brought up yet. So maybe, you've got to be careful. Sometimes cutting might be a Chekhov's gun or a foreshadowing for later. But you're going to get there and edit it anyway, and you're a human, so you'll spot it. I'm just saying it's things to consider. He shift a trencher. We need to bring back this language. He shift a trencher. He scape a trencher. We need to bring this language back. I think it's awesome. I don't even know what it means. Tis a foul thing. When I've been reading this language, it's kind of like old-fashioned, but it's actually really quite good. I don't know. There's something about it. Can't describe it. It's not the fact that it's Shakespeare. It's just something about the way that everyone talks. Anyway. The demonstration continues around the social gathering like a second layer of reality. Potential buyers from various Terran factions, example Capuletto technology, while the formal event provides diplomatic cover for Right. No. The formal event provides diplomatic cover for negotiations that could determine the outcome of Earth's endless wars. Dude. Talk about exposition dump. That's a bit on the nose, isn't it? Each projection represents not just engineering achievement, but the difference between victory and defeat for entire planetary coalitions. I see what he's trying to do. I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to set things up. But the thing is, at some point you have to trust the speech. Because a lot of this descriptive stuff, when he starts talking about diplomatic and blah blah blah, what are they talking about? I think they're trying to foreshadow the Paris marriage that she doesn't want, because that's done for political gain, right? There's a forced marriage in Romeo and Juliet where Juliet's father wants her to marry a noble called Paris. In this story, it is a noble from Paris, a Terran noble from France, right? That we just slightly changed it, yeah? But I think that what it's doing here, diplomatic cover for negotiations, because remember the dance was originally to try and get all of these young heirs to mix. And obviously that's a setup, isn't it? Because they're trying to set them up, but obviously Romeo's not supposed to be there, and he screws up the whole plan. Yeah, Juliet was supposed to meet Paris, but she didn't like him. You know, as far as I remember, I didn't write the story. It's a good story. You might have heard of it, but yeah. So anyway, here we go. Here's another one. I identified this pattern earlier. The first sentence after any emotional exchange is probably going to get deleted, because check it out. Here's another one. Tybalt retreats to the hall's perimeter, his anger simmering like a plasma reactor operating beyond safe parameters. What? Who says that? So these are the things that are going to be easy to pick out. Don't need any of that. Like you could say anger simmering, cut. So I've highlighted what's getting deleted. So his combat psychology conditioning. We don't really need to know about that. Provides multiple scenarios for eliminating Romeo. What is he, Jason Bourne? Despite the social constraints, contaminated food, environmental system failure, and tragic accident. He's just breaking down stuff at this point. All of that can go. Anger simmering. Each possibility plays out. So yeah, so anger simmering. Each possibility plays out in his, and we can strike enhanced. Okay, you don't need to say enhanced every time. These pilots have enhanced imagination because of the piloting system, you know, the neural implants, whatever, right? But we don't need to say that every time. This is Act 1, so it might be their subtle way of introducing things, but it's not subtle. With technological precision, complete with probability assessments, and that's just ridiculous. I would just cut all that. It's gone. Demonstration stations offer particular opportunities for creative violence. Anima Rosa systems could be overloaded. Projection arrays can be weaponized. Right, okay. That can all go. It serves no purpose. It's just techno fluff. Yet each plan founders on the same obstacle, his uncle's explicit protection of the Montesco heir. simulation. Oh, let's read some comments. Reduce the blur. Enough drink for tonight. Dragon says, I neither hate Blur and Oasis. I am house music. Yeah, I understand. He likes the rave. I'm one with the rave. And the rave is one with me. Hello, Fernicar. I noticed the show don't tell just gets ignored. Indeed, it does. Dragon says, current English is reduced Americanisms. We just need to get back to the rich, older language. I wonder, did Shakespeare have a hard R? Because, you know, back then, it was all in one place, you know, the hard R and the no hard R. Do you know what I mean? Because American has the hard R. They do the hard R, 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 which is like a Cornish, Irish pirate thing. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. American. I could have sworn they do the hard R. You know, R. Because obviously some people just go R, not R. You know? Like a pirate. But anyway. It's hard to get across the Atlantic. You need to get a boat. So, it's probably got something to do with it. Lord Fear says, hey Johnson, what are you going to do after the Civitai ban? Sorry if this is already asked. No, not at all. I do actually have a video with an official response coming, but it's basically, I have no control over UK law, nor does Civit. Some people might say it's up to Civit to implement age whatever thing. And as far as I know, they already do that. But maybe it's not up to the standard that's required, and maybe that costs more money than people are thinking. I don't know what the ins and outs are. All I know is that if a platform doesn't allow an entire country, and that's a Western country with lots of money, that was a tough financial decision for that company to take. So I just hope that they don't go under. Do you know what I mean? Because usually when you're turning down potential income like that, it's not because you don't want the money, it's because you can't afford to make the changes. So I don't want to be like throwing shade or casting doubt or anything like that, because Civitai is a great platform that helped me get into the AI industry, and it pains me that the ladder has been removed for other UK AI guys that can't now take the same route that I did. So that's my opinion on it. Regarding what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put all my data sets and my fine-tuned models on Hugging Face until this is resolved, because I feel like it can't go on like that forever. Like, do you know what I mean? Because what if America decides to implement age gating? What are they going to do then? Block America? You see how choosing to block, even though it's cheaper in the short term, in the long term it might cost them more money, because if they can't afford to do it with UK, then they won't be able to afford to do it with America. It's like 5-6 times the size, 10 times the size, whatever. I don't know. So, do you know what I mean? So I worry that they're going to disappear. That's my fear. If I was you, I'd start backing it up. I'd start downloading all your favorite models, because they might not be there forever. I don't like to cast doubt like that, because I've got no inside information. It's just that I think about it logically, you know what I mean? In fact, I'm starting to worry about what happens if Hugging Face goes away, which I know sounds ridiculous, but in the last couple of months I had my GitHub get banned and then get reinstated for no reason, and then now Civitai has been blocked for the whole of the UK. And I don't know if I think it's just the UK, because it is our UK law that started this. But the problem is, it's a new Online Safety Act, and it's, what's it called? It applies to, it could, because like I said, we have regulatory alignment with Europe, which basically means that Europe are probably going to do the same thing if they haven't already. And I heard recently in the news that American legislators are looking at it and going, oh yeah, we want a piece of that. They're like licking their lips and rubbing their fingers from behind a tree going, Online Safety Act, we'd like that. So I hope you guys in the US can like know how to stop it, because it seems like they like it. Even though we don't like it, they like it. And yeah, like I say, if you have to take a tough financial decision like that as a company, what happens when the next financial decision like that comes along? You know, they're going to block Europe, they're going to block America. It's not a workable solution, is it? So if the situation changes, I'll be straight back on there. But if the situation doesn't change, look for my stuff on Hugging Face. I put up an article as like the last thing I'd ever say on there because I knew they were going to block me. And people can say, "Oh, we're gonna VPN. Do a VPN." I'm not going to get around the rules. I'm not going to evade the rules to continue posting. It's not worth it. You just get banned and they delete all your stuff. I'm sure they wouldn't do that to me, but then I would never break the rules in the first place. Okay, it's not worth it. Basically, the account's inactive. You know. Yeah, I mean, look, in the UK, we have a thing where it's like, if it's AI, it's okay. Same with America. It's like a moratorium for 10 years, I think. So I don't really know where any of this stuff is coming from, because it should be, like, protected and fine. Now, I can't speak to the adult stuff that I know. I never talk about it deliberately, because it's not something that I'm on there for. None of my work has any adult angle. I think I made one project which was like dancing women, but that was open pose skeletons, 100% open pose skeletons. There was no actual people in it, and I did that as a bit of a joke, because if you notice, my most popular resource on Civet is that, by a long way. Because if you do anything like that, it just gets more attention. And so I understand the argument, and it's kind of like, to be honest, yeah, when I was working there, I was saying, look, you need to like clean it up, make like a separate site or something. You need to do something. Everyone said it to them. And I stopped being a moderator there, you know, after a while. And they made changes, you know. They made like Civet green. They had like a green.civet where there was no adult stuff. But it's not enough. The regulators don't care. They'll say, is there this on platform? Yes or no? And they'll have to say yes. So Civet Green isn't a solution either. They really needed a like Civet XXX and then a Civet AI. That's what they really needed to do. But I think they were afraid that the Civet AI would get no traffic and the Civet XXX would get all the traffic. And then it's like, and they're right. You know, but they're right. That's how it is on the internet, right? But the problem is, it's like every shortcut in life. Sometimes it's a monkey paw, and that finger curls up, and what was a shortcut is now a curse, yeah? So this is why taking the long route sometimes is a better strategy, you know what I mean? Like not doing the spicy content, not doing the copyright content. And the funny thing is, that's what I did, and it worked. But here's the thing. And now my entire portfolio's been nuked. So if you're in the UK, I can't even show that to a client no more. I can't even say, hey, look at all the models I trained. I can't even do that. So yeah, it's a bit of a thorn in my side, but it's not going to slow me down. I do feel bad though. Like I said, there's an element of kicking the ladder down, if you see what I mean. Like, I like to show everyone exactly what I do, exactly how I did it, how I got to where I am, yeah? Because I want to encourage other people to do the same thing. Get into the AI industry, learn the tools, do good work, and you'll go far, right? But part of that would be having a portfolio that's in a relevant place with good positioning. Civet AI actually allowed that. And a lot of people that were big on Civet went places. They're working for companies now. Do you know what I mean? So it was a success story in terms of democratization of AI, in a sense, because it was possible for you to market your skills as a consultant or a model trainer or whatever, and show, look at all this, right? A lot of people have been enriched and have better lives now, but because of the curse of the pawn, it's kind of, in a way, Civet AI took a bullet for everyone, so that there was attention on the platform. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's a marketing strategy, you know? By the fact that there were viewers on the platform looking for the adult stuff, they actually were looking at all of the artistic stuff at the same time. And so you were able to network and make connections with people. And it's not about porn. That's the stupid thing. It just became a nexus point. If you wanted to go and see where the best fine-tuners were, you'd go to Civet AI. Yeah. It's not like that now. There's many platforms now, but at first they were the only one. They were first, and they were the only one to do it. So they got that unique positioning status. But the problem with being first is often you're first out. You know, first in doesn't mean last out. So look, like I say, I don't like to be aspersive. Okay, I hope that it continues from strength to strength. I hope they resolve this so that I can come back and keep writing articles and keep putting my workflows and fine tunes up there. But if they're going to block the whole UK and it's a UK law thing, so I just like I did with the GitHub when we got banned for those that week by an AI flag. I got banned from AI on GitHub. Love it. Probably publishing too much vibe code. He's like, I don't want any more of your cheese code. Anyway, so this is kind of where we're at. We're entering the regulatory phase of AI. It might be your last chance to get in before it starts getting really expensive to actually get good training. I know I'm going to be writing my own educational materials, but, you know, you can't be everything to everyone, right? So I'm going to keep doing my thing. I'm going to be using Hugging Face mostly, right? So, and also I'm going to be rebooting my gallery on Scuffed Epoxy. Right now it's still hosted on 5 Below 5 UK, so you can still get to my gallery, but it's all kind of old pics, right? And so what I thought is, if this is what's going to happen, it's time to refresh, set up new focal points. And so obviously one of those will be a newer focus on the gallery that I'm running on my own site rather than some other websites. You know what I mean? I can't be bothered to make another account on another platform. Not right now. Hugging Face is fine because you need somewhere to store all the models and the data sets. So that's convenient. That's working. But my only worry is that in, like, I don't know, X years time, am I going to be sitting here in the same situation? You know, is it going to be in 2 years that they even stop us from accessing bloody Hugging Face? Like, I know it sounds ridiculous now, okay? But a lot of the things that we're doing with AI sounded ridiculous a year ago, yeah? So you gotta be open-minded when it comes to the future. Most obvious statement of the night, I guess. But so let's see what people are saying, because I've been waffling. Let's see what people are saying. Dragon says, I've spoken to Civit. They're not compatible at all. I will update you when I tell you more. Issue is, they're not EU compliant either. So they're going. What are they going to block EU next? Just not. It's not workable. Like, I hope they find the solution, because I love the platform. They've been very good to me professionally, and I used to recommend it to aspiring artists who want to come up in the AI space. I said, make a Civit and start fine-tuning. Start putting your work out. Yeah? If you're in the UK, you can't do that now. To me, that's kicking a ladder down. But we'll have more on that in future. Because, like I said, I'm a bridge builder. If I see a big bridge fall over, my immediate thought is to build a new bridge. So we'll come back to that. Full dive. Wait. No, Zanelli. Zanelli says, I was just lurking, but I will comment on this. Civitai has nudity NSFW, so they would need to implement actual age verification, either using face scanning or legal documents to enforce it. I agree with you, Zanelli, 100%. There shouldn't be children on the platform looking at porn. 100%. Here's the problem. We live in the age of AI. They only need to collect documents. They can't verify them. Civitai can't connect to every government in the world to verify the documents that are submitted. So this is what's going to happen. AI faces will be scanned. Fake documents will be submitted. And until they actually look at every user, they won't know, because they can't. How can, you know what I mean? You can't verify it. Like, you know what I mean? Like say you're in America and you have a legal document like an ID. Maybe you can go on a website and you can, like, put the ID in and see if it's real. And then maybe you can hire somebody, which costs money, to look at that ID and verify, or use AI to whatever you want to do. But I'm just saying, it's going to be a complex system, and every country has their own way of doing it. So what are you going to do? You're going to like do 150? Oh, we've got to talk to all the countries of the world now and like figure out how to verify the ID that we get given. Do you see what I mean? This is why it costs too much money. It's so funny as well to me, because it's kind of like everybody told them they needed to get ahead of this, and they didn't get ahead of it. And the funny thing is, there are actually third-party providers that can do this for you. That's what porn sites do. They have a provider. They don't do age checks themselves. It's done through a third-party agency that does that. So really, they just integrated it with that. Personally, I think that, you know, NSFW content should just be on its own site entirely. But they've made it clear they want to keep it on the platform. So that's the way it is. I think they're trying to do like an art freedom type thing, but some of the content on there is like way beyond art freedom, guys. So Full Dive Media, I think you should burn Blu-ray of the things you don't want to disappear. The DVD can last 50 years. It's not bad. It's a little bit less effort than my hard drive disco that we rotate through hard drives every 10 years. I'll say that much. It's not a big job though, to be honest. People think it's a pain in the arse, but it's easier than it sounds. But yeah, Blu-ray, 50 years, pretty good. Zanelli says a massive issue for GDPR, safety and failure to comply would financially screw them. Exactly, that's the problem. It's all about money. And to be honest, GDPR was never about you or safety. It was about extracting cash from AI and tech firms who are very good at evading giving up the cash. So I see this as a shakedown. So it's like regulation. What is the regulatory phase? The regulatory phase is where governments of the world decide they want a piece of the pie. So they engineer a narrative where the only solution is fines for companies that are misbehaving. And it just turns out that you are a company that's misbehaving, so you can pay now. I'm not conspiratorial. This is, you know, it's the same thing that happens to every industry. They let it grow, and then when they see it get big enough, they're like, time to milk the cow. And the way they milk the cow isn't direct, it's indirect, stealth tax, basically. So create this minefield of regulatory rules and regulations, you see. And then when a big company with a big wallet trips up, they pay. It's quite simple. You know, oh, you've got a nice car, don't go fast. It's funny, isn't it? All the nice cars go really fast. Anyway, so Civet do not have, Dragon says, Civet do not have a DPO, which is an essential thing for EU, UK, data process, a lawyer. They need to hire one or else they cannot operate in the UK. Right, so lawyer in the UK, £500 an hour. Good luck. They probably don't make enough money, guys. Do you know what I mean? People think that those companies are making money hand over fist, but the hardware is very expensive. So actually, it's not a case of they're just printing money at all. It's a percentage game, right? Because the prices are competitive. They can't just charge loads. You'd go somewhere else, you see? We all know this. Fernicar says, that's the disruptive meaning of AI. It's fair to disrupt all of us equally. We need to put that one on a poster. That's brilliant. AI, the democratization of AI. That's where we democratize you. Zanelli says, I would find it funny that I would just make PG content, but almost every time I'd look at a followers page, they would make the most degen stuff. Yeah, it is funny. Like, look, the pursuit of art. What is the pursuit of art? It means different things to different people. Like I said, you can't be all things to everyone, right? And if you're following your path, that's the thing. Now, I think if you're underage, perhaps you're obsessed with this sort of thing a little bit more than someone who's older. But that's not always true, okay? It speaks to an experience, usually. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I write stories about? Giant robots, because I've never gotten to drive one. It's a fantasy. It's not real. I'll never do it, okay? So think about that next time you're looking at the degen content, right? He's never done it, he'll never do it. Then it has a different flavour, doesn't it? Some people just want to make attractive women, which is different and actually has a function. Because if you want to sell something, you need attractive models. It's just the truth. It's another tough question people don't like at the moment, you know? Dragon says, not the degen stuff on Civet of real people is the issue. Yeah, the deep fakes. It all conflicts with EU, UK law. We can disagree with the law, but Civet has to obey. Yeah, the real people stuff. Like, here's the other thing. If you take all the porn off Civet, right, get rid of it all overnight, you still have all of the copyright problems because people were doing copyright stuff. Some of the biggest models and lawyers and whatnot, they're all big copyright. Avengers, Batman, you know, and these companies are litigious. You see what I mean? They're not going to let you be selling those pictures and not have they want some money. Batman movies didn't do so well. Superman movies didn't do so well. They actually need the money. Yeah? When they've just lost 100 million on a movie that nobody watched, they're aching to get money, right? Fernicar, the elephant in the room is that OnlyFans does not have such obstacles. Ignore it and you will loop on the same topic. Well, actually, OnlyFans has age verification, so you can't get a membership. You can't see the content unless you log in and have a paid account, as far as I'm aware, right? I knew a girl who used to do it, and as far as I was aware, it's fully private. There's no public profile. Do you see what I mean? If you try to look someone up, as far as I know, you have to log in. Now, if I'm wrong, that shows how much I know about OnlyFans, okay? That's pretty much the limit that I know. But what I'm trying to say is, because they're set up as an adult platform, they already have the age confirmation stuff set up, you know? But that's not like it won't stop the UK and the EU from trying to find these companies. See, these companies have been making a lot of money since COVID, so they've been allowed to get fat. It's harvesting season. That's what the regulatory creep is all about. It's literally milking the cow. You should be glad they're not skinning it, yeah? Because that's the thing they can also do. And to be honest, with this government, what do they say? With X in the White House, it's like that, you know? It's the same thing. I wouldn't give them ideas. If I say something, it might come true, so I'm not going to say it. Dragon says Drifter's going to marry a giant robot. Her name is Thora. And also, I do attractive women. Spoken like a true red-blooded male. Well, that's just the way it is, you could say. Right, where are we? So yeah, as I was saying, it's a bit wet. It's dripping wet. What we're going to have to do is dry it out a little bit. I'm just going to apply a tactical towel, to soak up the additional descriptive lines that maybe don't need to be there. He has a habit of repeating himself, but that's because I told him to. It's all part of the plan. The human in loop, HIL, is the last step. And the human in loop is basically beer, steak, reading. If you don't drink beer and you don't eat steak, replace it with your favorite beverage and meal. Okay? And you just sit there and read it. Just do one act a day. There's no pressure, right? You're supposed to take your time on stuff like this. I might even actually print it out so I can actually get a pen and cross out the bits to cross out. But it's quicker just to edit it. You know what I mean? It's quicker just to do it in the word processor. Yeah. Google Drive Docs is really good and it's free, so you don't need Word. Don't get Word to write books. It's the biggest waste of money. And on that point, that's where I pull the ejector cord. I'm getting out of here. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me on another 2-hour segment of Latent Space Live. We're going to be doing 203 tomorrow. We're getting back to the daily schedule. We're going to be starting at 8 tomorrow, a little bit earlier, as I've been doing these late starts as I kind of crank the engine up again. So thank you all for joining, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next time.
These eight worship. Chocolate. For it, I beat her.